All right, time for another song title poem. Tried to have this out last week, but I had some personal issues that just just didn't really feel the vibe. So I already had this written. So yeah, so I call this one for Songbird lost her voice. This is going to be a female artist that I chose. Um, I'll tell you more about what happened said later. Okay? Something is wrong with this world when the lush life seems to be a fool's errand as prices on simple things rise too high, and it seems everyone has to take the long way around to reach happiness for a little while, leading to a lot of once cheerful people going crazy from trying too many new things just to keep alert because it's so easy to get lost after more than one very bizarre path has been taken. When we're young, our loved ones tell us don't cry now after a hard day, but time passes and such a kind gesture must come from someone else. Yet others are often alone, and the lovesick blues keeps positive vibes from reaching everyone. And we sadly say goodbye to any new chances with someone new before we can said attempt a simple hello and say give one heart a reason to beat with pride once more. Remember when your parents said, "When you wish upon a star, anything can happen"? You thought such ideas for everyone, but not for me after too much time passed without seeing results to keep the power of optimism alive, to turn any simple dream into magnificent reality for everyone to enjoy. One problem with life is that humans require a number and a name to obtain anything. Yet, so many are only seen as nothing more than cogs in the machine or birds in a flock that can be replaced if things don't go well, and it will take more than silver threads and golden needles to fix all the worries life can bring that impedes progress. While you can close your eyes and pretend that there is little that can be done to boost morale, said for anyone who had a heart, is that it beats with a melancholy rhythm. Life is a journey, and there are too many rivers to cross without any bridges to ensure that you aren't caught in the flow and could sail away to places said not many really want to go to, and getting back is really tough, as you feel like tumbling dice in the largest game of chance, or giving up tends to be the most effective. And if something new feels like home, people stay where they end up, no matter the price. Unless we find friends to bring us light, we feel like we're at the dark end of a street, said looking onto whatever others have found, said to put the unlucky down. So low they are afraid to look anywhere else for relief. And once proud souls are afraid to dream out of fear of letting them getting shattered by the smallest bit of negativity that makes anyone cry like a rainstorm when they realize that all their effort has been all for naught, and teardrops will fall as long as there aren't many powerful reasons to attempt happiness. Some find it hard to get out of bed because of the morning blues waiting for the first trace of light to creep over the horizon. And it's always cold during this first few hours as the night isn't defeated as easily with the changing light. Made worse by the mental revenge of not being able to remember our dreams for a little while longer because such an ordeal instead can break my mind as I try to recall details for another escape from reality so that I can almost see a set of progress no matter what happens elsewhere. One thing I know about life is that it's about time for the rest of the world to wake up and see that so many suffer in silence because they don't know much about the rest of the world and how others make the best with what they have, thinking it doesn't matter anymore about trying to find a path to glory. Said after hearing the unpleasant words, "You're no good for us," and desire for a better life dies a slow death. Such ideas aren't for anyone, but maybe I'm right to think that this world is filled with far too many uncaring souls hiding under the old pain society uses to conceal the truth that we weren't created as equals, because we're easily burdened by by the faithless of some new fad, said that offers a respite, said from the sorrow, like how my writing is one way to keep me said from from blowing away in the dread winds of destiny. If I had to describe myself to anyone new, I'd say I was a prisoner in disguise, as while I have a few good days, so they often come after too many sad ones. However, you wouldn't know sorrow lives here in my heart, as I kept it hid from those who were reluctant to ask about my struggles, because I sadly wasn't in their good graces. Said for just one look of compassion every now and then to boost my morale, whenever life hasn't been exciting and no one comes to potentially rescue me from my sea of despair. Oops. Said a part of me wants to say I'm just a simple man in a complex world, but that's life because my poor brain isn't wired the same way, and some days I just don't know what to do with myself if things don't go very well. I have nowhere to turn to and give me a reason to find the light at the end of the giant tunnel walk that makes you walk on. As to me, it feels like I can't turn back to find a little more peace in a familiar place. Said that's quiet and prevents the heat away from anxiety, depression, autism, from burning into something that can't be controlled. Said I'll be in trouble again for not getting proper help in time. One thing I'm afraid of is that I will never marry because I lack the confidence to take such a risk to get closer to someone to make the fantasy of being loved a reality after so many years of being alone while the world passes me by. And while I know people say somewhere out there is a perfect person meant for everyone, it said, yet the waiting for a sign of relief said takes the color from life, reducing confidence. People from my past say not to give up hope, yet when I ask, are my thoughts with you, I get nothing to make me feel a part of the group, because I wasn't the fast one in the race towards a much brighter tomorrow where everyone is welcome. But that'll be the day when I'm not prepared and will feel the aching of the past return. And what'll I do? And said, if I don't see any familiar faces waiting to share everything meant to cast aside despair, or at least it said, at least rock me on the water as I traveled farther down the river of life. All I want from life is for a few people to say, I believe in you, said even in dark times because they too are searching for the light. But I know that unless I find someone to watch over me, I won't know where to go once the last of my true family is gone and the damage of broken heart is too much to bear. It said, it seems that all my life I meet people who bring me joy only to vanish without a trace, like I wasn't a valued individual, said, who was only given lies for the lack of contact and eventual abandonment, leaving a bad taste of failure that lingers for a long time, preventing me from enjoying the memories that were once so sweet, and I hurt so bad emotionally that I'm afraid to feel anything for a long time. To anyone new to such a poem, it's easy for you to say things will get better, and said to a stranger because it's what everyone was told to do from a young age. Said, but the cost of love is often too much for people like me to pay more than once. So I must save until the dream. So I must save to make the dream come true. Said so that if such a life is going to last, the ordeal will be worth it. Yet the road towards such a goal is very long, and without many signs that an exit is in sight. Said, and to lose again to uncertainty is always a grim possibility and reason not to try again. No matter who you are, need you on my side as this world continues to be plagued by shadows and various monsters that make up the frenzy known as society. It said who thrive on seeing others fail in order to ensure their success because everyone loves a winner, we said when they share some of the glory. So that if you feel like you've arrived, said after the gold rush has ended, you said you can turn to me to ease some of your burdens or just discuss what's new in your life with someone who is tired of the same old things. I'm afraid to ask the universe when will I be loved by someone new, as the universe is too busy to be bothered by the likes of someone so meek. But I won't be hanging around anyone, anybody who doesn't make others feel safe. And every day the tracks of my tears get longer from not feeling anything positive in places said where everyone else is full of joy. And if I fall to pieces, there will probably be a good reason. So please try me again while there's still a chance for everyone to know true happiness amongst friends. No matter what you think of this piece, I'm leaving it all up to you to keep this life looking bright for however long we have together. Said, but know that I get along without you very well after having many years of practice. My old flame burns in inadequate capacity to help me pretend that a regular life is possible. But in my solitude, I learned that the best friends said are always quality over quantity. No matter what happens, think of me as your friend, who has a different instead view of the world and offers guidance for all those who are lost. Because deep within my soul, there's a part of me that wants to bring smiles to the world. And if you have asked, said, where am I going? Said, you have someone eager to walk beside you to prevent falling between abysses of uncertainty. Said, said, on the way to the other side. But it's too soon to know how long we still have to travel. Said, on what else awaits us along the journey. So, yeah. So, if anyone didn't fully catch a lot of things with that, that was actually Linda Ronstadt. Um, she was always was kind of in the background of a lot of things, kind of like a lot of movies. And with song like "It's So Easy to Fall in Love," was always a pretty good thing. In the song "Somewhere Out There" from American Tail was always a pretty popular song. Um, and she was always just like so full of life, and then she just started to really she basically she started losing her singing voice. And one thing you have to know is actually use slightly different muscles to actually sing than you do to talk. That's why if you ever heard someone like Mel Tillis sing, he normally has he had a very bad stutter. Yet when he sang, it was so perfect. It's like, are you sure this is the same person? Or another thing one would say, um, one is like for like a lot of country stars, they often may talk, very normal, and also when they sing very differently. It's like you don't. It's almost like they're two separate people. So, you know, and one thing I definitely can always say about my life is that I've met way too many people that have come and gone, and there are so many people that I wish I could get to know more, but I'm not said I have not known them for so long. Said only known for so long, and then we just haven't really been able to connect. And even if we have connected, it was so long ago that there's no longer a decent connection. So yeah, I know that a lot of people have often felt like that. Being on the kind of the outside of the glory, like being the last person to know about something, and that's one of my worst pet peeves is when someone says, "Oh, said no one did this person tell you? Did this person tell you? Did this person tell you?" And it really bothers me, and I often would really resent someone. I've actually refused to help people as saying or would do something all on my own. Just saying, "Oh," it said, "Yeah." So I didn't tell. Guess no one told you about that. And said they felt like saying, "Oh, that's so passive aggressive." Like and said, "Well, it's just simply because it's so easy, basically, for me to be actively annoyed with everyone else that that's what you get." People always said, "Didn't you do this? Didn't you do that?" Saying you have to tell me so far in advance. You don't just say, "Hey, you want to do this thing," even though instead of telling you out of the blue. I'm like, no, I am not doing it. It said I'm either elsewhere or just don't have the mood to do anything. So pretty sure a lot of people have been been like that in their lives. Just kind of wish that someone would just pick up the phone and say, "How you been? Let's go do this the next." So whenever the next time you can, because even if I've tried to reach out to various people in the past, and it was just like they would never give me the time of day until like the day of, and it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about this. I wish I'd known about this, sooner." And it's like you had plenty of time to do this thing. I mean, if you're anything, I know a lot of people check their messages, first thing when they get up, first thing, right when they go to bed, or even in the middle of the day, because we just don't turn off our phones enough. And I'm thinking, how could you not just look at it and say, okay, what's this? Like, oh, it's from so and so. I haven't talked to them in a while. Let's see what they want to do. So, um, so I hope everyone enjoyed everything. This little slice of life. Um, Not entirely sure I'll release the next. It's the next one. I'm trying to find a few poems that I've wrote in the past. Maybe maybe I'll make like a longer video with them because they weren't really like super long. They were only like 3 pages, total. It said, well, each one of them was only about 3 pages because sometimes you just can't really find like a very long discography for people because not everyone can just say, hey, we came out with this thing, one year after another that didn't have like any major hiatus that would just say, okay, let's just focus on the songs we already have. And if we're inspired by something along the line, we don't have to try to basically add a bunch of filler. It's just to say, hey, look, we made another album, right when you expect it. And it's like, what is this, Drek? Because all I know is that some albums can only have like one redeeming song out of the entire album because everyone's just like, how did this even get made? Because so said hopefully I'll have something up and ready to go by Easter. So hope you guys stay well. Said and just keep being awesome. All right, bye.